Hello everybody, I thought I would make a video about replacing a e-bike tire with a motorcycle tire. My e-bike is Fucare Libra. You can hardly see here, but right there, Fucare Libra. It has a 20 by 4 inches. The bike is quite heavy, I think around 100 pounds, and with the few things I've added, might be a little more. The reason you can see from the picture, I've replaced the stock tire with a motorcycle tire. The brand is Shinko SR567 110/70 16 inches. As you know, the motorcycle tires are spec'd differently than e-bike tires. My e-bike is 20 by 4 inches, and 20 inches seems to be equivalent to 16 inches on motorcycle tire spec. I've watched a few YouTube videos, and I think this is a pretty good fit, and also I've seen a 110/80. 80 is the profile percentage, would also fit. I haven't tried it, but I've seen a few comments about it as well. The reason I've done that is I had this bike for about 18 months. Total mileage about 9,500 kilometers, which would be around 6,000 miles. I commute to work pretty much every day, and I had 4 flats so far, and it is quite painful to fix the flat in the rain at night or get the tube replaced, and all of the 4 times it's been the rear tire. I think that's a similar experience with everybody, pretty much, people on e-bike. I'm assuming because the rear side is much heavier than the front side. I'm sure I've run over a lot of nails and screws and other metal objects on the front tire, but I've never gotten a flat on the front side. So, after a couple of flats, I did actually replace the stock tire with a heavier tire. Not motorcycle tire, but heavier tire that is quite a bit heavier and thicker than a normal stock tire. I think you'll see a lot of people replacing e-bike stock tire with a thicker, heavier tire. I was hoping that would prevent or decrease the number of future flats. I think it actually did, because I haven't gotten a flat in a long time. Probably in about 8 months I haven't gotten one since I've replaced it. Also, I've used flat out, but what I found with flat out is because the inner tube is so thin, it didn't do a very good job of getting the flat out working. It pretty much, the inner tube, I've seen some examples, the inner tube kind of gets shredded, and in my case it didn't shred, but flat out didn't do much. I can see, I was able to see it's doing its best to harden and seal the hole, but it didn't do a good job. I think it's meant more for tubeless tires and stuff like that, but so this time what I did was I've installed the motorcycle inner tube, which is about 3 millimeters thick, probably about 3 times more thicker than a regular e-bike inner tube, which is very, very light and thick. And when you look at the motorcycle inner tube, it is very heavy duty, and even the stem looks different. There's an outer nut that goes against the wheel, which I didn't have for my e-bike. So my hope is, and I added the flat out again, just hoping that thicker inner tube will actually allow flat out liquid. It's kind of like slime and every other liquid. It's similar, but flat out is supposed to last 10 years inside as a liquid form, so it doesn't solidify. I haven't had a solidified liquid yet, so hopefully that's true. And bigger hope is because the tire is so thick. It got, obviously, a motorcycle tires, it got delivered as one piece. You cannot possibly roll this into a little pile and put it in a little box and ship. Whereas almost all e-bike tires, when you order an e-bike tire, they bundle it up into a little ball, and a small box would be able to fit two of them front and back. And with motorcycle, it's so much heavier, you can't do that. It's so much thicker. The side profile is so much thicker. Without air, when I press down on it, it almost feels like you can ride flat just to get home safely, but that might not be the case. I haven't tried it, certainly don't want to try it, but the point is, this is tire so much thicker. It's rated for 180 kilometers an hour. Not that I would do that, but it is made for motorcycles, not for e-bikes. But I've heard of people doing it, so I thought I would try. What's the worst thing that could happen? I've taken this on a short test drive, but I haven't taken a regular commute ride yet. So I do not know what kind of speed decrease I would get, or battery consumption might increase. I think both of those probably will be true. I'll probably get expecting maybe 2 to 3 kilometers an hour maximum speed decrease, and probably 10% or so more battery consumption increase, which doesn't matter to me either. It doesn't matter. It's a commuter bike, and I don't run out of battery, but I do have to charge the bike daily. So I want to talk about how I actually installed it, because a lot of people claim it is extremely difficult to install these motorcycle tires on an e-bike rim, because they're so solid. They're just not very flexible, which I can attest to be true. What I did was, the last video I saw, some guy was the title of the YouTube video was, I found a easier way to install a motorcycle tire on an e-bike. What he did was put the whole tire into a preheated oven and kept it in there to get the temperature up, make the rubber more malleable. At the end of the video, he was able to install it. He claimed that it wasn't as difficult. He actually said it was pretty manageable. I think that's what I heard. So I don't actually want to do that. I don't want to put that tire in the oven, and I don't know, he didn't really specify the temperature either, so I didn't want to do that. And what I actually did was, this is kind of the key point of this video, I went for a similar effect. I put the whole tire into a black garbage bag, and I put the hairdryer on it. I left it on for about 15 minutes in low setting, and as I was getting ready, I cranked it up to a higher setting. What worked the best for me was, I tied the open end of the garbage bag, and I cut a little hole at the corner of the garbage bag and put the hairdryer in there, and use a rope to close the opening. I didn't want to completely seal the bag, otherwise the hairdryer would probably overheat. So I left a little hole on the regular opening side, so hot air goes in and I can feel the hot air coming out at the other end. At probably about half the airflow as you'd get from a hairdryer, so a good amount of air would come out, but the garbage bag was completely filled with air the whole time. And when I took the temperature gun at various points, the opening it had about 55 to 60 degrees Celsius air coming out, and I am certain the intake part of the garbage bag had probably a higher temperature, and I had it running in total about 30 minutes, right until the moment where I needed the tire. So what I did was I heated up the tire this way, and when I pulled it out, it was warm to the touch, quite warm to the touch. So I knew I was ready. Just taking a chance and see if it's going to work out or not. And just like other videos suggest, I had a bottle of a soapy water ready, and I inflated that inner tube. Sorry, I don't have any videos of the actual installation process, but inner tube I inflated with air a little bit so it prevents pinching. The inner tube was so thick, I think it would have been difficult to pinch that inner tube anyways. Just enough to air so it shapes a little bit. It didn't really bother me installing it. So I put that inner tube inside the new tire, filled it with air a little bit, and put the whole thing, and I sprayed inside and outside of that tire with soapy water, plentiful of soapy water. And as I pressed against the wheel, let me see, get this other picture here. I don't have a lot of pictures. But as I pressed against this black wheel, first few inches, I didn't use any crowbars or any kind of bars, insulation bars. I had a couple of screwdrivers ready to go, but I prefer not to use them so I don't damage my wheel either. Not that I care that much about it, but I just use my hands, and what I normally use is pliers. I close the pliers and hold them with one or both hands, and use the pointy end of the metal part of the plier, and I pressed against the edge of the tire. And first few inches, let's say 6 to 10 inches, they went in pretty easy because everything else is open. The video I watched recommended the opposite side not be fitted into the wheel before you do that, but I did the opposite. I pressed the tire from this side, so the opposite side naturally went inside the rim, and it was already fitted, right? So all I had to do was fit this side of the tire into the wheel, and when I pressed it with my hands and the pliers, it went in quite easily. When I continued to work around, about halfway up, the initial point started popping out again. I think that's the difficulty with most people. It's very hard to keep that tire inside the rim as you go around. You can use zip ties and everything else, but what I did was I had 2x4s. I stacked them up, and I put it on this side actually, so I didn't want to bend the brake disc parts. I put the tire on this side against the rim, not against anything else, against the rim, and as I popped the first section of the tire into the rim, I put my knees on it so it would stay in there, they wouldn't come out. And I use my hands and pliers as I go around the rim, make sure it was still soapy and slippery. They actually popped in quite easily. And it only took me probably in total, when I realized I need to put my knees in there and start popping it in that way. After I started doing that, probably only took me about a minute or 2 minutes. It didn't take very long. Very similar to just regular tire. I didn't think it was difficult at all. So the tire, I guess the two key points are for me, the tire was warm, and I used lots of soapy water. And I had a tennis inner liner before, which made previous installation pretty difficult, because now you got the tire, liner, and inner tube to worry about. Those three things to install on a rim, I found it to be a little bit more difficult, because that pushes the inner tube around a lot, and you gotta worry about pinching. And this one I did not insert the tennis tube, because I found I had it in there for about a year and a half, and it pretty much got flattened. It wasn't very up, down to about 1/16 inch in the thickest part of it, so it wasn't going to do anything against any puncture. So I just took that out, and I just had a tire and motorcycle grade inner tube, and I think that made the process a lot easier. Again, tire warm and slightly inflated inner tube and lots of soapy water with 2x4s supporting the rim. I was able to put the tire on in about a minute or two. I didn't do it with a cold tire. It's winter right now, so otherwise the tire would have been garage temperature, not crazy cold, but relatively cold. I assumed that would have been a lot more difficult, but with the tire warmed up with a hairdryer, I was able to do it in about a minute or two. Wish I had a video of the whole thing, but I didn't, because I was just experimenting with it. But I can tell you, it was pretty easy. So if you're worried about not being able to do it, maybe use the method. I've heard some people say it was just about impossible, and they took it to the shop, and bike shop was obviously able to do it, but their feedback was it was very, very difficult, right? But I didn't find that to be true. Hopefully, if you want to try it, you can try it at home with this method or some other method people recommended it to you. Hope it works out for you as well. Again, quite happy with the installation. This brand of motorcycle tires seems to be quite popular. I think I have seen a few other brands, and this one from Amazon did not have it available. Like you said here in Canada, did not have it available, so I had to go to a dealer if they would ship. But that's the website that I went to get that tire. What was the price of it? Yeah, I had to pay for it, but tire itself was $82. And other websites I've seen it as high as I think around $140, $150, $150. And obviously you got to pay for shipping, all that stuff. But motorcycle tire for $110, I didn't think it was that crazy. So I'm pretty happy with it, and hopefully it works out well. Good luck to you if you're going to start your own project. Thanks for watching.